All right, so we're officially getting started. It's really nice to see you all. Thanks for being here and taking time out of your busy schedule. I'm Amy Pearson. For those of you who don't know me, see something on my glasses. I habitually have dirty glasses. Yes, and so I'm here today to kick off a series that I have been inspired to do, and this is all on dreams and what I'm learning about dreams. So this is a part of a new series called the Dream Discovery Series. And today we're going to talk about the mystical language of dreams. And I see this as a bit of a kind of like a survey of all of the wonderful topics that, I mean, not all of them, but many of the wonderful topics when it comes to the mystical, spirituality, whatever that means to you, and dreams. And the thing that I think sets me apart when it comes to dream analysis is that I have a certification through Michael Sheridan's Ashling School. And another thing that I do is I work with a modality that has been inspired through my work as a life coach, and also through some of the study that I've done with other dream and analysts, in particular, just through reading the work of a person named George Radican, who is one of Michael Sheridan's, my teacher's mentor. And in that process, I've created sort of my own approach that I use to take people into dreams and to help them to really experience dreams, so that it's not only kind of a intellectual process, but really a very rich experiential healing process that can be quite emotional. And as part of that approach, I was invited to do dreams for several individuals who are a part of Michael's dream mentorship. And through that, I got really excited because just through kind of like getting the opportunity to do many, many, many dreams, I have been learning new things, and it has been informing my approach to the modality that I created. And so I got really excited to kind of share what I've been seeing. And so today, kind of think of this as a survey of some of the mystical topics that are available to you through dream work. And then I plan to kind of have this become more of a monthly type of gathering where we get to dive into some of these topics in more detail. There'll be some of the what we're talking about today. I'm planning on kind of creating more of a detailed sort of deep dive into those, so you can look forward to that. I also have a lot of practitioners and spiritual entrepreneurs that I want to come and speak and kind of talk about what they do. And I'll be actually featuring quite a few spiritual entrepreneurs today who have used what they've learned through their dreams about their own spiritual gifts and then created offerings that are very unique to them, which is what I think is so beautiful and wonderful about using dreams to help inform some of your purpose and what you're meant to do and express here. So, and then I'll also be sharing some things, some ways you can work with me if that's of interest, because there are always people who want to take things further. But I'll also be featuring others who also have offerings that you can get into and learn about. So I'm going to try and I just want to, yes, I'm recording. I'm going to share my screen here. So let's do that because I've got a really pretty presentation. And then, feel free to add I love that you're using the chat. So feel free to go ahead and, post questions there, comments. I may not be able to see them until after I'm done getting through the presentation. But please feel free to use the chat. Okay, let's try this. Oh, wait, no. Okay. All right, so welcome everybody. Today, our topic is the mystical language of dreams. And I am Amy Pearson. I'll be your host. And a little bit about me. I've been an instructor for a life coach training program called the Wayfinder Life Coach Training Program. Some of you may be familiar with Martha Beck. She's wrote several wonderful mystical self-help books along with several amazing memoirs. Go and check out Finding Your Own North Star is one of my favorites. It's kind of one of her original books. Also, Expecting Adam is one of her memoirs. Highly recommend for folks who are here. If you're not familiar with her work, I strongly feel like a lot of you would resonate with her work. But through her, I'm an instructor. I've been doing that since 2011, and I teach life coach training. And that is something I also mentor coaches through the certification process. I'm also a writer. I'm working on my first memoir. I've been working on that since 2017. I'm very close to being done. I'm working with a New York Times best-selling mentor, and my writing has been featured in places like Huffington Post and on Maria Shriver's blog, and Martha has featured me, and I'm trying to think of other places, Mind Body Green. And so I do a lot of writing. I also love, I mean, I'm teaching. I love that. And then I'm going to be talking a little bit about some of the spiritual gifts that I'm using now in my work because I've been able to learn more about that through the dream work that I've been doing. But one of the reasons why I was so excited to get on and share with you all today is that I think all my life, and some of you may resonate with this, give me a hands up if you do, but all my life, I have just been fascinated with all things magical. And, as a kid, I've been, The Last Unicorn. I might, that's one of the movies that was really kind of a part of the zeitgeist of my time. The Secret of Nymph. When my kids were growing up, it was Harry Potter. And, I just loved all of that. And the other thing about that is I also felt really sad because I would get a lot of messages, as we all do, that that's all just fantasy. That's your imagination. That's not real. That's something that you can read about in books or watch movies about. But, Star Wars, right? And the Force and all that. But deep down, I was like, no, the Force is real. The Force is something that we have, this energy, this discussion of energy. It's real. But I think I just had so many external messages that was just silly. That was just pure silliness. And, it wasn't until I started to get into dreams. I've always been someone who has recorded my dreams off and on throughout my life, not feeling this frustration, like, what the heck does this mean? I know it's important. I know, why would we be even seeing this stuff if it weren't significant in some way? And so I've always had this knowing that there's something to this. And it wasn't until I kind of had one of my ego deaths and I had to kind of step back and really do some cocooning that I gave myself permission to enroll in a course on dream analysis. And that is through Michael Sheridan and the Ashling School. And I moved forward on that I actually finally learned that magic is real. And a lot of that is happening in our dreams. The proof that magic is real is showing up for us in our dreams. And so it makes me really excited actually to just get online here with all of you, and talk about this and share with you what I've been seeing and kind of have this be a survey of some of the things, and then, create a series where we can start to really dive into this. So, yeah, and I mentioned this already, but I have pioneered a way of working with dreams that I feel has works really well in conjunction with what I learned through my mentor, Michael Sheridan. And it's this way to kind of work with dreams to heal. One of the things that I've really learned about dreaming is that dreams are there for you as an opportunity to heal. And it's very powerful and it's inside you. So the healing opportunities are there inside you. And so working with dreams, and particularly, I really believe through this technique that I've pioneered, it's really helped me to see how powerful the healing opportunities are in our dreams when we can experience them in certain ways. And as with any sort of spiritual gift that we have, a lot of times we'll get some information about the spiritual gift in our dreams, and then we're asked to act upon it in some way. And then it's like, you know, the ego mind really wants to have it all figured out and wants it all plotted out and wants all the answers about how it's going to work, right? Because that makes us feel more comfortable. But in reality, the way it works, or for from what I have seen and what I have seen from my own colleagues, is that we're really being asked to take a leap of faith and act on the information that we have and that we're getting. And then when we do that, more is revealed and it starts to evolve. And so that's really what I've noticed with my own work as someone with the spiritual gift of being able to project energy. And we're going to talk about that a little bit, is that as I start to kind of hone this gift of mine through my work with others in their dreams, more is being revealed. And so it's very exciting. And I've just, this approach that I have been using, some of you have experienced it yourself. It's already starting to evolve. There's already new things being shown to me about how to work with people in it. So it's very exciting and I'm learning a lot as I do. And so that's really cool. So this class is for you. If you're someone who has like, maybe you finding yourself kind of stuck in this pattern of being triggered or noticing certain behavioral patterns that you feel aren't like working for you, and you can't, and you've used a lot of modalities and you haven't really been able to see the kinds of shifts you want. That was definitely something in my experience, is that I have worked with a lot of modalities, and I'm someone who, for better, for worse, have had a lot of trauma in my life, especially from an early age. And I've really had to do a lot of healing and really show up for a lot of healing. And I've used a lot of tools, and life coaching has been a godsend. And still, there had been, you know, certain things that I just hadn't been able to really clear. And it was really the working with dreams that was something that allowed me to really move the dial in terms of some of these triggers and behaviors. It's really helped me. It's really kind of been that thing that has really exploded my own growth and my own healing. And so if you're someone who's like, oh, I've done a lot of work, I do a lot, I know a lot of modalities, but there are certain things that I'm just feeling stuck around. Dream work is a fantastic area, fantastic resource to dive into. This class is for you if you are interested in a spiritual career, or you have a spiritual career. That's a typo. If you care about spiritual growth, obviously, and you're interested in elevating your consciousness, if you want to know your gifts and your life purpose, even if you know some of your gifts, but you want to learn more about your gifts, if you love all things spirituality, if you have a sense that there's more to life, but you don't know what it is. So we're going to talk about some spiritual topics that are really fun, I think. We're going to talk about spiritual guides, how to identify them in your dreams. We're going to talk about this topic of infiltration and what you can do about it. We're going to get into spiritual gifts and how to recognize those in your dreams. We're going to talk about how to tell if you're having a dream where you're getting a visit from a loved one on the other side. And we're going to talk about more than that too. So, and why those things are really fun, but why does this all make a difference? So, you know, this is where I kind of wanted to talk about the so what factor, right? So what if you know that you've got guides and they're showing up in your dreams? Well, when you can tap into the wisdom of the guides, then it makes a huge difference in helping you to gain clarity around kind of your life decisions and directions you want to go, and helps you to kind of understand sort of what are some of your issues that you need to be focused on. Because, you know, sometimes it's like, I don't know about you, but sometimes in my own life, I'm sort of like, wow, you know, I've got a lot going on, and where is it that I need to be focusing my energy? Or what is my main issue that is getting in the way of the results I want? Well, dreams will tell you that. In fact, just last night, I had a dream where I was being shown that I still have this issue with sort of like that go do kind of going. I had an opportunity presented to me, and I didn't really spend a lot of time talking to this individual about kind of what the parameters of this opportunity would be. And then we sort of started to move forward, and my dream was telling me that I can't just do that. I have to stop. I have to talk about the parameters. I have to advocate for myself. I can't just go along to get along. And that's what was presented to me as something I need to be focusing on right now in my life. So that it's constant, you're constantly getting this feedback. And when you can mine your dreams for that information, it is incredibly powerful and empowering in your life. Why does it matter to know about infiltrations? Well, that's a biggie, because if you're infiltrated and you don't know it, that can be impacting your moods, sort of your when you like it can be impacting sort of your ability to deal with other people in a composed way. You know, a lot of times when we're triggered, it can be that our energy is just lower because we're being impacted by infiltrations. So it's really an important one. I know I've had to deal with that, and it has made a huge difference in lightening up my energy. The other piece is discovering your hidden strengths, discovering intuitive abilities. Everybody has spiritual gifts. So it's something that's available to all of us. It's one of the reasons why we're here, is to express our gifts. And so this helps to get to create self-awareness, and gives you kind of a place to guide your work moving forward. And then sometimes we spend time on something perhaps that isn't as in line with what our gifts are, what we came here to express. And so it helps us to modulate that. And so the other piece is about why does it matter if we can identify if we're getting visits from our loved ones? Well, I think that one's really easy. It's this ability to find comfort and recognize those signs. And so that's a beautiful thing. And there are times when our loved ones will come and they will make themselves known to us in our dreams, and they also have guidance for us, or they have messages for us. So that's beautiful. So I'm going to talk about some of that I've seen, and there's some really cool stories about that. The other piece is that like I said, I'm going to be sharing with you some ways that you can take this further if that's of interest to you. So that'll be something that I'll share at the end of this talk. And I do have something special if you make it to the end with me that I will share as well. But I find that it's bad manners not to provide people with a way to take it further if that's of interest. And so I'm going to be sharing some ways that folks can work with me if it's of interest. So the first thing I want to talk about is, why do we dream? Now, I'm just going to also share a caveat that this is just my perspective. There is, centuries of work have been done on dreams. There are cultures that have been, every culture has a way of working with dreams. There's so many approaches to dreams that this is just little me and my perspective. But for what it's worth, what I really feel strongly is that our dreams are very similar to, I think, the way I think about our life, like our waking life. There's that spiritual principle, as above, so below. And the way that I think about that when it comes to dreams is that, as in our waking life, the way that I think about waking life is that we've incarnated here into this life as a way to address things that we need to learn about so that we can continuously evolve our consciousness and learn about ourselves and grow. And I believe become closer to really oneness and love energy. And so as a way to learn, we are confronted with various opportunities. And many of them come from struggles or experiences that we have that maybe are struggles or difficult, but we're given opportunities to navigate life in a way that allows us to grow bigger, faster, stronger. And sometimes we nail it and sometimes we don't. And so then we're continuously presented with those opportunities, just packaged in a different way, right? And so that's the way I see our waking life experience. Well, that is also the way dreams work. And so it's really cool to think about it this way, is that when we sleep, we go into experiences as well that we're giving opportunities to navigate in ways that allow us to grow bigger, faster, stronger, or not. We don't take advantage of the opportunity. And so then our dreams present us with different scenarios so that we can have other chances to navigate those opportunities in a way that allows us to evolve. And so as in life, when we experience life, we navigate through our emotions, and things bring up emotions, and emotions teach us things. And when we have the tools, and that's part of my job as a life coach, is to help people to understand how to work with emotions and thoughts in order to learn and grow and navigate change in a virtuous rather than a vicious way. And so that's also true in dreams. In dreams, when we work with our dreams in a way that allows us to heal, we will also be presented with ways that we get in our own way through sort of our beliefs and our sort of mental models. They will create obstacles for us to grow and to evolve, but we also are experiencing emotions that teach us things. And, emotions are really meant for us to feel and to express, and that's energy in our body that wants to move, but sometimes it gets stuck. And so dreams will present us with these emotional experiences that allow that emotion to move also. And so it's really, really powerful when we can go into our dreams and navigate them in a way that allows us to touch back into those emotions that might be stuck or bottled up, but also allow us to see what we're unconsciously holding on to in terms of patterns and beliefs that keep us stuck. So as above, so below. And I think, if we're not unraveling or working with our dreams, using the conscious mind, then we are missing out on a huge opportunity to continuously evolve our consciousness and to really kind of up level. And so dreams are this wonderful sort of gift that we have, that it's given to us by, I believe, our higher version of ourselves to allow us to another tool, a really powerful tool to evolve. So it's like, we have these opportunities in our waking life. We also have these opportunities in our dreaming, sleeping life. How cool is that? And so that's why I really love this quote that says, a healing dream can never fully be interpreted or understood. Healing dreams want us to stop making sense. Hold on, I can't see it. Us to stop making sense, not just crack the case, but enter the mystery. And so that is why, as much as I really love to get into a dream and really engage sort of that thinking analytical mind, because I think dreams are sort of like puzzles. There's a lot of puns and different, obviously symbology being used. And there's a lot of ways to work with the analytical, conscious sort of thinking mind to understand a dream. Personally, I don't think that's enough. I think, that when we can get in there and we can really experience the dream, then that is really the opportunity for us to fully take advantage of the healing opportunities that are there for us. Let's keep moving forward. So now I want to kind of get into some of the cool mystical things that are available to us in our dreams. And so one of the things that is really amazing that I had no idea about before I started working with dreams and learning about dreams is that some of you may have an awareness of spirit guides, or some of you may be able to already channel spirit guides. Some of you have a relationship with spirit guides, and some of you are like, spirit guides, I just thought that was fantasy, because our culture really doesn't really uh, allow us to kind of talk about this stuff openly without feeling like vulnerable or that someone's going to make fun of us. Maybe I'm just speaking for myself. But before I got into dream work, I didn't really, I wasn't opposed to the idea of spirit guides. I wanted to believe that spirit guides existed, but I didn't really necessarily have any evidence or proof that spirit guides were something that was true. Well, the cool thing is that spirit guides make themselves available to us a lot more than we realize in our dreams. And so how do we know that we have a spirit guide making themselves available to us in our dreams? There are various ways that you can tell. Now, I'm going to be sharing with you these sort of clues that you can use to identify that perhaps you have a spirit guide, or this is an indication that you might have a certain spiritual gift, or here's a way to tell that, you know, you're being asked to use your clairvoyance or develop that. I'm going to be sharing with you these clues that show up in our dreams, but I also want you to take this all with a grain of salt, because every one of you is an individual and these things will show up in a way that is unique to you. But I'm going to be sharing with you some things that I find tend to be pretty universal when it comes to clues that these are appearing to you in your dreams. So, spirit guides, how can you tell? A lot of times a spirit guide in a dream will have a title or will be some kind of official in some way. So ironically, one of the ways that you can tell that there are characters in your dreams that are spirit guides is that they might be in the military, which I thought, well, that's kind of mind-blowing. Like I never would have expected that. A lot of times spirit guides will show up as law enforcement, you know, police officers are often for me showing up as spirit guides. And a lot of times spirit guides will be very tall, not always, but if someone's very tall in your dream, or if you're having to look up to them, then that is an indication that they might be a spirit guide. If they're above you, maybe they're on a ladder, maybe they're high above you, that's an indication that they may be a spirit guide. For whatever reason, spirit guides often have blonde hair or red hair. For if you are not an Asian, then spirit guides can very often show up as Asians for whatever reason. If you are Asian, then that's not true for you. Spirit guides can show up as aliens if the association is positive, a lot of times. Sometimes though, if you have a spirit guide showing up and it's an alien, it could indicate that you aren't feeling super comfortable with your spirit guides. There are exceptions to this rule. Getting a gift from an individual can indicate that that person is a guide for you. If you are giving a gift in your dream, then you may be here as a guide. You may be someone who is here and you have already a very high sort of level that you came here to be a guide in some way. One of the things that I learned that I was oblivious to before I started dream work was that I am here as a guide, but part of my mission is to work with other guides. So if you see, if you have, I have before I started doing dream work, one of the things that I would dream about a lot is that it was Christmas and I was supposed to give all these gifts and I didn't have the gifts prepared and I was kind of panicked because I had to get all these gifts ready, but it was right before Christmas and I didn't feel ready. And that was for me an indication that I was a guide, but also that I had, you know, gifts to like my gifts to share to others, but I hadn't been really working on that in a way that was part of my path. And so that was a reoccurring dream that I had. If you're having dreams with angels or figures like Jesus, that also indicates that you have a very high level. You are here as someone with, you know, at a very high spiritual level, and that, you know, you have. I just lost my train of thought. Hold on. Well, basically it'll come back to me, but that you are someone here who has a very high level and that, you know, likely that train of thought just came back. Likely you are already very interested in spiritual topics. And so it's not a surprise to me that a lot of people who are on spiritual paths and that are sharing their spiritual gifts or who are coaches or here to work with individuals and be of service in some way, a lot of times you do have a higher sort of spiritual level in that you're here to share that with others in this lifetime. So the thing that's kind of funny, I think, about how spirit guides can often show up in dreams is that they're like, you may be trying to do something, but your spirit guide is blocking you from that because it's not the right path for you. And so one of the things that has shown up for me in a dream recently was that I was in a hotel, and it was a sort of like a casino, which can indicate there's a some karma, something about karma. And I'm looking for a room, and the room is room number 64. And six is about your dharmic path. And we're going to talk about the difference between those maybe a little bit in this session, but I'm also going to be doing a more in-depth talk about karma versus dharma and how that appears in dreams in a later presentation in our series. But basically those themes are showing up, and I'm looking for this room, and it's 64, which is about dharma and limitation. The number 6 can often indicate dharma, and limitation is off. It shows up as number 4 often in our dreams. By the way, 4 is the 4 sides of a triangle, which is like about boxing us in. So it shows up a lot of times as limitation. And so I'm in the dream, I'm asking for help from all these spirit guides that are showing up as like managers of the hotel, or security guards and things like that, and they're not helping me find the room. And so it's something I haven't fully analyzed this dream, but it has something to do with there's something that I'm doing, or something on my path that I'm doing I'm not supposed to be doing. And so it's kind of an interesting way, though, that spirit guides will show up, is they'll try to get you. They might stop you in a car, or they might give you directions or anything like that, because they're trying to guide you. And so they will often play a part in either blocking you or giving you guidance. And the blocking is a kind of guidance. If they give you any advice in the dream, then you can take that literally. The way to work with guides is that if you're able to get lucid, which, be conscious inside your dream while you're dreaming in your sleep state, you can dialogue with them. You can ask them questions, why are you here? What is my purpose? Things like that. But here's the thing that's really fascinating is in the modality that I use, where I take people into their dreams in a conscious state, one of the things that we've been doing extensively is we have been dialoguing with spirit guides in this more conscious state. Because one of my spiritual gifts is that I have this ability to project a certain kind of energy onto my clients that allows them to engage in their dreams from a conscious state in a really powerful way. And so one of the things that I'm able to do with my clients is I'm able to help them connect with their spirit guides in a conscious state by re-entering a dream, if that makes sense. And so it's been very powerful, because I've done this now with probably about 20 individuals, where we've encountered a spirit guide. We've gone into the dream in more of a relaxed, kind of hypnotic, semi-conscious state. And we've been able to dialogue with their spirit guides. And we've been able to get incredible amounts of information, names of the spirit guides, how long they've been working with individuals, advice, different guidance. So it's like, if you're not able to access the messages in the sleep state, this is one of the things that I can help with that make it very powerful, is that I can help people to take advantage of these encounters with their spirit guides from the waking state. And so that's been really cool. Just one little snippet of a story about that is, one of the individuals I did a dream session with, we identified that there was a spirit guide in this dream. So we asked the spirit guide their name and how long they'd been working with this individual. And this individual learned that this was one of their imaginary friends as a child. And so they had been really close with this imaginary friend. And so they were able to reconnect with this guide through this process that we do, where they re-enter their dreams. And it was incredibly emotional for this individual, and it felt a little bit like a reunion. So it was really beautiful. Okay. Does anybody have any questions at this point for me? I'm just, if you do, I'm not able to really see the chat, so feel free to just open your mic. I'm talking really fast and sharing a lot, so I just felt like maybe I should pause and see if there are any questions.
Can I ask you a question, Amy?
Hmm.
Through working with dreams with Christy, we're able to identify a new technique that I can do now where I can project also do a reading of the person's blueprint so that they can know what steps to take next or what their path is as well.
Mm.
I recently had a client that wanted to know their names of their guide. And would it be possible, like, for me to do this like in a lucid way? Try to, uh,
Yeah.
I suppose it would be this, the same kind of thing. I can get information that way for their name of their guide, right?
Yes, so that's essentially what I do. And so if you have that, it sounds like you have a similar gift, spiritual gift that I have, this ability sort of to project your consciousness in a way that allows people to tap in to certain things and for you to tap in. And so the technique that I use is a way for them to access information from their spirit guides through the dream in a sort of semi-conscious awake state, more of a relaxed kind of state. And so you can experiment with that for sure. And at the end of this presentation, I'm going to be sharing some opportunities for people who are interested in learning this technique. There's opportunities for you to work with me. But again, I want to just emphasize with everyone that you don't have to work with someone else to tap into your gifts, as you know. It's sort of like part of it is about just being willing to experiment. And so this hopefully will plant a seed for you and give you some inspiration on how you might be able to work. But if it's of interest, definitely get in touch with me and we can talk.
Thank you so much. Thank
Yeah,
you.
very cool. Cool, cool. So many fun ways to work with dreams and gifts and spiritual gifts. So I want to talk about infiltration, and this is going to be really brief because I think we're going to do a whole other workshop on this one. But one of the things I didn't realize before started doing dream work is that unfortunately there is such a thing as getting infiltrated by, energies that don't have our highest good in their intentions. And a lot of times, this is just my opinion, but many of us who are here who have, and I'm getting chills with this, which is kind of it's sort of a validation of what I'm saying, that a lot of times people who are here who have a role to play spiritually in up-leveling or elevating the consciousness of humanity, many times, unfortunately, we can be susceptible to infiltration. But a lot of us are susceptible to infiltration just when we're, a little bit in a lower vibration anyway. And so what it can do is it can create sort of a feeling of depression or easily triggered, just kind of not being able to show up as your best self, lower energy, things like that it can be that when we have infiltrations and we're not aware of that and we haven't got it cleared, it can just show up as just feeling lower or just having a difficult time getting out of those kind of funky states. And unfortunately, that kind of creates this cycle because the lower you are, the more susceptible and vulnerable you are to infiltration. And so I want to offer some signs of what infiltration might look like in your dreams, because the cool thing is that when you can recognize these signs in your dreams, then you're kind of, excuse my language, but unfuckwithable. Because if if you get infiltrated, you know it, and then you can clear yourself or you can get help clearing, and then you're just not getting infiltrated. And so it's kind of this cool thing where it's like the dreams will help you to identify that. And then you have this beautiful resource where you can now start to work, kind of keep your energy up and protect your energy. So the ways that I find that this shows up is a lot of times, houses show up as our bodies and our dreams. They're very symbolic of our bodies. And so if you have, this can also be a lot of times breaking in, anybody who's breaking into your house, that's not a good sign. We don't like to see that in dreams. It can also be a sign of, traumas, different kinds of traumas that you might have experienced in your life. So breaking into a house can also be a sign of sexual violence or abuse. That you may have experienced, but it's also a sign of infiltration. So any breaking in of houses, I've had dreams where like I've been in a house and there are squatters in there. Like there are people who are in there and they're like hanging out, and it's like, what, who are you and what are you doing here? And so that's not a good sign. A lot of times the infiltrators will be males, and that's not always the case, but look out for males that are rowdy, like young kind of males that are just rowdy and making trouble sort of energy. Sometimes they're carrying sticks. Sometimes it's hockey sticks. I don't know why. That's just really random, but you can look out for that. Just kind of wreaking, like not doing good things, just being a nuisance. And here's the crazy thing is sometimes they want to convince you that they're helpful. And so like I can't remember the dream right off the top of my head very clearly, but I've had a dream where like I was in this house and these people were in there, these men were in there, and they were kind of like, they weren't like rowdy or making trouble, but they were kind of just squatting, like kind of in there. And I'm like, why are you here? And they were trying to convince me that they were doing helpful things, and it was like, the idea is that they want you, they want to give you this, they want to convince you to let them stay. And so if you can get lucid in a dream, you just kick them out, get them the heck out, right? Don't let them in. Don't, make sure that they leave. That's one way to work with infiltrations if you're able to get lucid. But the other thing too is just have a really good spiritual hygiene. And if you have a practice that works for you, that's beautiful. If you don't have a practice, start to look into spiritual hygiene and how to clear yourself. I've gotten different protocols from spiritual teachers, but the thing that I think has worked really well is just to step into my own power and just command and demand that these any energies that do not have my highest good in their intentions leave, and they're not welcome. I've also invoked help from spiritual helpers like Jesus, and that can be really helpful. And so the other thing though is if you're still having trouble, you can always contact individuals who can help clear you. And so there are individuals who have spiritual gifts where they are basically super badass at kind of clearing dark energies. And so if you are looking for assistance in that way, do reach out to me. One of the individuals who can do that for you is going to be featured here in this presentation, but this is one of those where I think it would be really fun to do a workshop on this too. But help is available, but please know that you can also clear yourself. I've really had to work on that and get good at that. But there are different levels of infiltration. And so there are different, sometimes it may be that you just need to get some extra help. And so that's something to think about. Now, some of the others that I've seen are like bad aliens can sometimes be infiltrators. Sometimes that can also be a sign that you're just not comfortable with um your guides or your spiritual. Like I've had dreams where like one of the indications of a spirit guide in a dream is a superhero, right? Like different kind of superheroes. Well, in the past, part of my healing was to trust authority figures. And I would have dreams where like the superheroes were sick or there was something wrong with them or they weren't trustworthy. And that was an indication that I had some hangups around connecting with spiritual guides. So that can be something, but sometimes they can show up as bad aliens. I had some situations in some of my dreams recently where I was dealing with a specific kind of infiltration, where I was being chased by drug cartels and drug landlords and things like that. And it just, a lot of times, if it just feels really icky, that's an indication that you've got an infiltration of some kind. So keep an eye on that. I've kind of talked about this, but the thing to keep in mind about spiritual hygiene is that you can be vulnerable to infiltration, especially if your energy is low. Say, unfortunately, it's sort of like kick you when you're down type of dynamic because if, say, you're dealing with grief or something happened and it's a difficult life experience for you and your energy is just understandably low, sometimes then you can also be more susceptible or vulnerable to spiritual infiltrations. Darker energies can glob onto you. So, a lot of times if you're sick, your physical body is weak. That can be a time when you're more vulnerable. And so just keeping an eye on your spiritual hygiene and really just surrounding yourself with tons of light and protection and, doing all that yourself is very powerful. And, for me, as someone who kind of historically has come from, just this logical mind perspective, I just didn't really understand the power of my own imagination and my own intentions and my own ability to work with my energy in ways that allowed me to keep myself protected. And so just know that you have a lot of power to deal with this on your own, but there are also individuals who can help you. But if you find yourself in a lower state, if you're someone who's dealt with, bouts of depression all your life, it could be worthwhile to look into that or keep an eye on your dreams. Christy, thank you for raising your hand because I can actually see that come through. So Christy, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you'd be willing to give us the name of
My
someone that,
my source.
yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. I have her name and I will be sharing that. She
okay,
is a colleague of mine and a good friend, and she's an absolutely amazing, what do you call them? Like, she clears dark energy and she clears
perfect.
filtration. So her name's Kelsey, but
Okay,
she'll be in this presentation.
all right, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's keep going. Now, I'm not going to say a lot about this, but I just kind of wanted to give you an idea that this is also something to look for in your dreams. But we also have spiritual protectors. And so depending on the person, we may have different protectors show up for us and make us aware of them in our dreams. And so you might have an actual dragon. It's less common, but if you have dreams where there's dragons showing up, or kind of there might be a kind of some kind of a reference to dragons, then that might be one of your spiritual protectors. And they are really, a lot of times they've been working with you for many, many lifetimes. And it means that you might be someone who has done a lot of spiritual work and you need this kind of protection. And so they are part of your team, and your dreams may make you aware of that. Other protectors that may appear in dreams are alicorns or unicorns, turtles, gorillas, lions, and I'm sure there are more. But some of my protectors, I have a dragon, I have a turtle, I have an alicorn. And so these have different roles to play, different ways that you can work with them. I know with alicorns, they're really good at helping raise the energy. So it's something that they can help raise the energy so that when you are in a situation where, like, say, you're teaching, or you're engaging with individuals in a way where you need to keep your energy high, you can kind of call on these protectors and use them as resources. Yeah, Christy. Oh, and then Kelly, I see you have your hand raised too. Go ahead and Christy and then Kelly.
Okay, alicorn, I'll be the one to say, what is that?
Oh, yeah. So an alicorn, I know, right? Like alicorns they have a horn and they also have wings. So it's like it's not a
Oh,
Pegasus, it's not a unicorn, it's an alicorn. And it's funny because I used to draw them obsessively when I was a little kid. And so it makes
okay,
sense, right? That shows up for me as a protector.
perfect, thank you.
Kelly, yeah, Kelly, thank you for asking that clarifying question. Kelly, did you have something?
Yes, thanks, Amy. I realize we're talking about dreams here. I'm curious though, these creatures, animals, do they sometimes show up in waking life as protectors as well, do you feel?
I mean, as above, so below. I really do believe that our waking life, we can engage in it very similarly to the ways that we engage in dreams with dreams. And what I'm talking about here, I do believe applies, and I'm getting full chills as I say that, which is validation. And so I've had friends who have actually seen mystical creatures in their waking lives. And so, yes, I believe there's a reason. And it could be that it's a protector. It could be that there's a message there for you. And I do believe that we can engage with things that appear to us in waking life in the same way that we do with our dreams. As an example, I just yesterday, I was going to make some elderberry jello. This is so random. But I was about to like I had a can of it because one of my friends that like harvests elderberries. And so I had this can, or it was like a jar of it, and I was getting ready to pour it in the mix that I was using to make the jello. I make it from hand. It's actually really good when you use the bovine gelatin anyway. But while I was pouring it, the glass completely shattered. And I can show you pictures. I had took pictures of it, but like the elderberry uh, liquid just like poured all over my stove top. It was just an absolute crazy mess. And so this morning in the shower, as one does, I was thinking about that and wondering what is the message there. And what I got was that I was using the elderberries because I was trying to boost my immune system. But I think what the message was for me was that I have to also just rest. It's like I gotta, like I was in the middle of trying to make dinner and do all these things, and I was kind of pushing myself beyond my limit because I wasn't feeling very good. And then that happened. I think the message for me was that I need to rest. It's not just about these band-aid fixes with elderberries and things like that. And so, all to say that anything that you are experiencing in your waking life, whether that's a mystical creature that maybe it's a reference, maybe you're getting all these messages with unicorns, or maybe you're seeing dragons, or it's funny, I had an individual who I had taken into a dream, and we were doing some healing work in the dream. And there was an elephant that showed, oh, actually, it was a waking dream. I was invoking a waking dream with this individual, and an elephant showed up. And then it was really funny because after we had gotten done with our session, she emailed me and said that she had just gotten an email with an elephant icon in the title of the subject line. I think that was what happened, but it was a message, right? There's something significant there. And so, yes, all to say yes, that you can absolutely just keep an eye out for things that are appearing to you in your waking life, and really set the intention to find out what the message is there. What is the wisdom? What am I being shown? Is a wonderful way to work with that.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so communicating with loved ones on the other side. This is really fun. I think it's I wanted to share this because we often have individuals show up in our dreams. So significant individuals in our lives will show up in our dreams. And sometimes those individuals have crossed over, and sometimes not. Sometimes they're individuals that we're dealing with or have dealt with in our life who are still there with us. One way that you can tell that this is a message or a visitation from that individual in spirit form, coming to you in your dream state, is that that individual will communicate with you telepathically. And a lot of times it will just have a different feel to it. And so that's other than that, though, you can kind of know just by the rest of the context that is given in the dream, because sometimes they're there to just show us dynamics and patterns that we might not be aware of, that they were they kind of created. So like thinking about mom and dad, my mom is she did pass, she is on the other side, and she does occasionally show up on my dreams. as just a way to show me some of the trauma or patterns or, you know, obstacles that are in my blind spot that I got because of her influence. And so sometimes she'll show up in that way. But other times, I have had a dream or two where it's been her coming and she's communicated with me telepathically, and it's been more of an experience where it just feels different. And so that's one way that you can kind of tell the difference. A lot of times you'll know. The other thing, though, that's really interesting as I've been working with people in re-entering their dreams from a conscious, more kind of semi-conscious state, is that I've had some really cool things happen with loved ones. So just recently, I had an individual I took into a dream, and her dad is currently dealing with dementia. And so he's not quite there. And she hasn't really been able to communicate with him. And it was absolutely powerful because he came to her in the dream, and when we were able to re-enter the dream and connect with that symbol, she was able to get information from her dad that she hadn't been able to get when he was like in his kind of waking state now, because he is struggling with dementia. And so that is something that I had no idea was possible in dreams. And so that's another example of kind of engaging and re-entering a dream in a waking state and getting information and kind of interacting with symbols in a very powerful, magical way. I've also had individuals who have re-entered dreams and have connected with loved ones on the other side, and gotten information from them through the process that I use to facilitate those dream re-entering experiences. So, so it happens. It is something where a lot of times it can happen, you know, a lot of times for me, when I was grieving my mom, I had to work through a lot of grief before I could get visitations from her. And I don't often, for me, for whatever reason, I don't often get a lot of visitations from my mom. She's really the most significant. I mean, I have grandparents and stuff, but I think my mom is the only one where I've really experienced a visitation. But I really had to work through a lot of grief, because if we're in that energetic state where we're dealing with a lot of density, then it's not as easy for our loved ones to, for whatever reason, connect with us in the dream state. And so that's something to keep in mind. Yeah, I think I covered that. So let's get into spiritual gifts. Go ahead, Veronica.
Yes, thank you, Amy. I just wanted to ask you to clarify, when you bring someone in a dream and you get information like that, is it coming through you, the information? Are you channeling this information? Or is it?
No, it's actually coming from the dreamer. So what we do is and some individuals who are on this call have experienced this, and so they can speak to this. But what I do is I take them into a relaxed state and we re-enter their dream. And then I have them merge with the consciousness of their symbols in their dream. And then I have them speak as the symbol. And so it's very similar to like, you can even, those of you who are curious about this process, one of the things you can do is think about a spider. I take my people through this exercise before we go into their dreams. But if you think about a spider, just from your own like kind of ego state as Amy or Veronica or Kelly or whoever, you know, when I think about a spider, I'm not a fan of spiders. They scare me. I don't really like them in my space. I mean, I have a way of getting them out of the house without killing them, but they're creepy to me and that I don't want them on me, and I've gotten spider bites and I don't like it. So
Yeah.
I'm not a fan. But if I were, and I've done this before where I've had a spider in my dream and I've stepped into the consciousness of that spider and I've really tried to merge with the spider and see things from the perspective of the spider. And what that does is the first time I did this, it really allowed me to see that that particular spider that showed up for me in my dream was really just minding its own business. It really needed a place to be. It didn't want any trouble. It felt vulnerable. And so it gave me this ability to connect with the energy of that particular spider in a way that was very different from what was accessible to me from my conscious mind. And so this is the process that we do when we re-enter dreams. And for whatever reason, if you have the gift of projection, you can help facilitate this process for individuals so that it's more accessible to them. For whatever reason, when I facilitate this process and I take people in, they're able to get a lot from their symbols by speaking as the symbols. And I believe that there's something about my energy that I project that it helps them to be able to do that, if that makes sense.
Oh, very nice. Lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I
Yeah.
loved it. Let me just throw it in. I loved the experience of becoming that symbol. That was great.
Yeah, yeah, I loved doing that. I absolutely adore doing it with people because one of the things that um it happens is that I get to benefit from people's dreams because one of the things that I've learned is that when you go into a dream with individuals, their consciousness and the symbols that come in and the things that they share from the consciousness of these symbols is profound and incredibly benevolent and beautiful. And and it's not unusual to have just become incredibly moved. And as I said, it's very healing, but it's very healing for me. It's very profound for me. I feel very blessed to get to participate and facilitate in that way. So yeah, thank you. For anyone who's done this process with me, it's been a blessing for me as well. So spiritual gifts, this is going to be a very surfacey type of survey of spiritual gifts, but there are a lot of spiritual gifts that will come through in dreams, and many of us have more than one. But there are some telltale signs that you have this spiritual gift. And a lot of times when you're looking at this in a dream, other symbols will come in to reinforce that this is in fact a message about this being a spiritual gift. So some of the spiritual gifts, healing is a spiritual gift, being able to channel is a spiritual gift, as I mentioned, projecting your consciousness. And that can work in a lot of ways. That can be remote healing, that can be energy clearing, that can be hypnosis, that can be what else? Being really that can be also just being really persuasive. It can work really well with the teaching spiritual leadership gift. So there are different ways that these gifts will show up. For example, channel. You could be a clairvoyant channel. You could be a clairaudient channel. You could be a clairsentient channel. So there are different symbols that will show up in different ways. With healing, it's the same. You could be a hands-on healer. You could be someone who can send energy and hence you can send healing remotely. There's different types of healing that you could do. Working with crystals and channeling energy through crystals is a gift. Protectors, people who can clear dark energy. Writing is a gift that shows up in dreams. Counseling is a great gift. Spiritual leadership and teaching is a gift. So there's all these are just a little smorgasbord of gifts and the ways that you can identify. So these are a few, and this is not an exhaustive list, but these are a few clues. And so if you've seen these in your dreams, chances are you have this gift. And a lot of times when you're just starting to become aware that you have the gift, as was true with me, doesn't mean that automatically you can go out and send remote healing and everybody's healed, or that you're projecting in a way that totally makes that works right away, or that you're channeling right away. It's more that you're being made aware that you have the gift and you're being asked to take it seriously. And then when you do, you take a step towards it. You dabble in it, you experiment with it. And then that gives you more information, or that helps to guide you in what to do and what to develop next. A lot of times it will be, it'll give you information about, what should I prioritize first? Or sometimes it'll tell you what you're not supposed to be working on. Maybe you're working on one spiritual gift, but that's not the spiritual gift that, higher self wants you to be thinking about right now. So, sometimes when we get indications that we have a spiritual gift, we can get frustrated because we're like, wait a minute, I'm not using this. I don't know how to use this. I don't know what this is about. But it's really more of for you to be aware that you need to be moving towards that gift, or you need to be working that in some way, or you need to be developing that. And so if you're a healer, a lot of times that can show up as symbols referencing hands, is a lot of times healing can show up that way. Let me see if there's anything more. What are some others? If you are someone who is a dream person, can you put in the chat a few others with healing? For some reason, I'm kind of like stuck on what are some other symbols for healing. Putting your hands on things, mentioning hands. I don't know. Nothing's coming to me right now. In the chat, post your post symbols that help with healing that I'm
The
missing.
sun, anything
Oh yes.
charging, right?
There
The
we go.
horses,
Oh God.
gold coin,
Jeez.
gold.
Food.
Food. Oh my gosh. Thank you, everyone. Wow. Woo.
Pomegranates for fertility.
What's that one, Leslie?
Pomegranates for fertility.
Oh, I like that. That's cool.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
had that.
so
No, I was
that's great. That's neat. Okay, so yeah, so the biggies though, thank you, Kimbra. I think also maybe that was you, Christy. But yes, I don't know why I was like getting a blank, but gold, the sun, horses, food. Okay, so looking for those things are big indications, right? Now channeling, there's a
Like,
what was
and
that,
power
Kim?
sources.
Power sources. So yeah, thank you. So
Sources.
if you dream about like a sports car, or if you're like like something like plugging into a wall, those are also indications. Thank you so much. Jeez. Okay. So channeling, a lot of times the channeling one, the biggie that a lot of people see in their dream is if you have celebrities showing up in your dreams or actors, a lot of times that is an indication that you are a channel. Other indications of certain kinds of channeling that you can do, if you have like symbols with that are drawing attention to your eyes, then that means that likely means that you can you have clairvoyance as a gift, that you can channel through visual images. If you get a lot of ear type of references or earrings, things like that, that can also mean that you have the gift of clairaudience, that you can hear. There's other things that are indications, like TV sets can be about clairvoyance. Let's see, clairaudience, earrings, radios, telephones. Telepathy is a gift that I have for whatever reason. And that one, I have a lot of dreams with the telephone. And it's funny too, because that one will show up for me with healing. And it's been kind of funny for me because more and more I'm able to make calls in my dreams, which is a good sign that my channeling and my telepathy skills are advancing or improving. Okay, projection is the one that I've mentioned a lot. And that one is if you are finding yourself flying in a dream. Flying is a biggie for people who have the skill of projection. So keep an eye out for that one. Let's see, also like billboards, the color yellow. I'm just reading from my list. Let's see, television stations actually too. Interesting ones like if you're dreaming about hypnosis, there are some where it's like witches. It's not necessarily a sign we like because it may mean either you have a negative attitude towards projection or that you're using your projection gift unconsciously in ways that could be impacting others in a negative way. So you want to be careful if you start to see things like that because, and this is just a little caveat for anyone who has the gift of projection, is that a lot of times when you think badly of other people, that actually impacts them and that can negatively impact your own karma. So don't, like, if you notice yourself sort of perseverating or circling around about individuals that you have a problem with or people you don't like, check yourself, okay? Because that actually can impact people in a negative way and it's not good for you. So you have this gift, and for and for people who can project, like I love to project healing and project good intentions on people, and really use that gift in a way that allows me to impact people in a positive way. So then like working with crystals, this apparently is kind of a rare one. I've had dreams with crystals in them a few times. It means that you are likely able to work with crystals, but when I've had dreams with crystals in them, didn't necessarily mean that I was ready to do that. And it wasn't something I was necessarily supposed to prioritize. But if you have crystals, if you have diamonds, if you have rubies, different kinds of crystals, that could be an indication that you are able to work with crystals and how that can be a way to kind of bolster your work. So that's cool. Writing is an easy one. Basically, if you have any references to writing, if there's pens, if there's, different, just any reference to writing, writers, different, like if you've got Shakespeare coming in there or any writers that you like, that's an indication that you have a writing gift and that you should be writing. I've had clients who have had writing come in, and that has been also feedback for them to start practicing more writing while they're channeling. The other thing too about channeling is the number 2. If you see number 2 in your dreams, that is, or like references to anything like that with 2s or like 2 things, it can also be an indication that there's something about the age of 2. But a lot of times 2s are, for whatever reason, I think it's because channeling is about balancing masculine and feminine energy. And so 2s or 1 can be also an indication of channeling. So a lot of times people who are being urged to use their channeling gift or take their channeling gift seriously see a lot of 2s in their dreams. Counseling is really this ability to hold a safe, non-judgmental container and to be able to work with people in a way to help them to heal in that way. And so a lot of times with counseling, incidentally, if you've had a difficult life when it comes to your experiences with your mother, a lot of times you have this gift of counseling. But counseling, there are indications of counseling, let's see, can be bridges, dreaming of people who are counselors, the color peach. And it's funny because I just had a dream with peaches, eating peaches in my dream. Books, libraries, and newspapers educate us to allow us to come to informed conclusions. This is what a counselor does. Other indications, color green and pink together can be counseling. Anybody else want to share anything that you've seen with counseling that I'm forgetting? Or maybe I covered it. I don't know.
A
Lawyers.
couch,
A couch,
lawyers, yeah.
lawyers. Yeah, lawyers is a big one too.
And then being alone often, right? When you're standing off alone. So that's the indication, remember?
Yes. Yeah, because a lot of times for people who have this gift of counseling, a lot of times they do have abandonment issues. So, it's like they can hold space, they have this through sort of the difficulties that they've experienced. And it's often through mother wounding. It can show up as it can evolve into this gift of counseling. It just becomes something naturally that you're able to do. And so in dreams, you will you'll see yourself in situations where you're being shown that isolation or that wounding that came through that mother wound. So yeah.
If you see an arrow also, and an arrow can also indicate that your guide level.
I did not
That's
know
come up. That came up in my final dream with
Oh,
my
very cool. Very
Mhm.
cool. Love that. So, spiritual leadership is another fun one. And so spiritual leadership to me, it can be that like a lot of times for me, I have this one. I think this is the biggest one for me that I've been asked in my dreams to really prioritize. It was the first thing that really I have found, and this may be different for some, but what I have found a lot of times is that many times it's channeling, and if you have spiritual leadership that come in as the things to prioritize first with your spiritual gifts. Channeling a lot of times because it's really this way for you to learn how to tap into your own wisdom. And through that ability to tap into your own wisdom, you are able to kind of expand on and evolve your other gifts. And so channeling often comes in as something that many of us can do, and many of us are guided to take advantage of or to develop or to emphasize first. For me, it has been spiritual leadership, and that can be true for many others who have spiritual leadership. And so spiritual leadership, the color purple is a big one. You know, a crown, royalty, anything like if you see like churches or like you know, kind of individuals who have like titles that have to do with religion, even if you're not religious. Gosh, you know, stuff that can be puns on religious things like mass and things like that. Seeing groups in dreams is often an indication of spiritual leadership. Being outside, a lion is a big spiritual leadership one. Kind of people with names that come from the Bible, like Michael or John or things like that. A bus driver, geez, those are big ones for spiritual leadership. If you have leaders that are like kings and queens and things like that, being a pilot, those are biggies for spiritual leadership. I know that one because I just see a lot of those symbols a lot in my dreams. And by spiritual leadership, I mean an individual who's really being asked to be seen. Like what I'm doing right now is using my spiritual leadership gift, being able to be seen, sharing what you know, encouraging and guiding other people, helping people progress on their path. Those are things that many of us have and many of us are asked to prioritize, and that will come through in dreams. So if you're seeing these things in your dreams, please post in the chat. Let us know. I think it's cool to hear from some of you what you notice. Prophecy is another one I didn't include here in this list, but prophecy is the ability to see the future, tell the future. It's super cool, right? A lot of times prophecy, if you're able to, eagles are a big one. Being able to see, like being really high up and being able to see like from miles around, that's a cool prophecy indication. Just having prophetic dreams, right? That come true. That can be one. Crystal balls. Yeah, just knowing in a dream, like sometimes it'll show up as just like, oh, I know what's going to happen. Like sometimes you're in a dream and you're like, I just know what's going to happen. You know, that can be an indication. Telepathy is another gift where it's like, you can kind of read minds. I have this one. And sometimes it's you're touching someone, going forehead to forehead. If you have the gift of being able to communicate with animals, sometimes you're talking to animals in your dreams. But with telepathy, I was also going to say that sometimes in your dreams, you can just read people's minds. So that's an indication that you have that gift. So those are sort of just a really, really brief summary and survey of spiritual gifts and how they, another spiritual gift is being able to communicate with, kind of like as a medium, being able to communicate with people who have crossed. And so a lot of times you will see ghosts, you will communicate with spirits, you'll see spirits coming through. That can be a biggie that you have that gift of being a medium and communicating with spirits. So noticing that one. So yeah, feel free if you are someone who knows dream analysis, and if I didn't cover something, please feel free to add more. But those are just kind of a fun, just bring your awareness to keep a lookout. And one thing to realize is that if you have a gift, those dreams are going to repeat themselves. You're going to get these symbols quite a bit. You're going to start to see them now that you have an awareness of how they often come through symbolically. You might start to see them more. It might draw, you know, your attention might be peaked more than it had been in the past. So keep an eye out for those. And if you're really meant to be working on and prioritizing those gifts, they're going to be showing up more often in your dreams. You're going to start seeing those repetitively. Okay, so good signs that you are making spiritual progress in your dreams. Okay, these are fun. So a lot of times it can be that you're taking a test. Many of us don't ever feel prepared, and that is totally normal because when you're up leveling, you start to feel like you are uncomfortable, right? Or that you don't have what it takes, or those kind of insecurities will present themselves. And so a lot of times I know for me, I've had many dreams where I'm taking a test and I'm feeling unprepared. That is totally normal. And that is actually a really good dream because it means that you're advancing to a new level. Boarding a plane, being in an airport, crossing into a new territory, being asked to present on stage, graduating, getting pregnant, being pregnant, having sex. Having sex is really about kind of you merging with, you know, different energies. So if you're having sex with a male, you're merging more with your masculine in a good way. Obviously, this has to be positive sex, right? We don't like anything that has to do with forced or any kind of traumatic experiences of having sex. But if you're having sex with a female, that means you're merging with your female, feminine energy. So those are all really positive signs. Signs you might be a little stuck. I have a few of these. It'd be fun to hear from a few of you maybe who have more to add, but some signs that you're stuck: damage to your car, a parked car, because cars can be about your life journey. I know also symbols reference to karma, but really I'm thinking about it as kind of a life journey type of symbol. And if you're parked and you're just not going anywhere, we don't like to see that often. You know, feeling rushed or late might mean that you're being really, you're feeling your higher self is really asking you to pay attention, and that, you know, you have some things to do here and maybe you're not doing them. So sometimes that can show up as feeling late or rushed. Miscarriages, abortion, that's never, to my knowledge, a good sign. So we don't like to see those things in our dreams. But the beautiful thing is, if you see these showing up in your dreams and you're aware of this as something that can show up as stuckness or being stalled in some way in your life purpose and your journey, then that's really good information for you, because then that allows you to be more conscious about choosing how to move forward and getting support. Anybody else have anything to share in terms of signs that you might be stuck that you wanted to throw out? All right, well, that's okay. We'll keep it moving. We'll keep it moving. So I wanted to share really quick some ways that some of my colleagues have discovered spiritual gifts showing up in their dreams, and how that has then kind of converted into ways that they've been using them. So Tamara is this wonderful dream analyst. She's very, very powerful dream analyst. And this dream was something that she shared with me. And you notice here in this dream, she's got, it's mind control battle, but I'm not going to share the full analysis of this dream. But can you see all these twos? That's a channeling reference. And so she's also got that gift. But we also see here that she's got these dogs showing up in her dream. And dogs can often be about like our kind of our true nature, right? And here she's got these dogs that show up in her dream, and she says, I'm just going to read it. Leaning my arm on a table, and tables are often about, look at this. This is what's on the table for you. This man shows me a picture of two dogs. One is a German Shepherd, and then the other one is, I don't know. It doesn't really say in this about what the other dream is, but he says that their names are Dream and Interpret. And so she had this dream done by Michael, who's our teacher and our mentor, and he confirmed that this was a very clear indication that Tamara has some very powerful dream interpretation skills. So I loved that one as a dream to share. Learning more about, you can go to dreamsteam.com/Tamara and get some more information about Tamara and how she's working with this spiritual gift. So we've got Katie here. Katie's fantastic. She is just an incredibly powerful healer. Katie, by the way, if I'm talking about you and you're here and you want to chime in, please just open up your mic, because I can't see who's here. But she had a dream called Fixing the Air Conditioner. And basically there's this house, and she's got this electric motherboard, and that she's looking at the components of the house. And then she's got this air conditioner, and the AC wasn't working, and she could fix it in the dream. And she did some rewiring in the dream and reconnecting. So remember that houses are a really great symbol of our bodies. And she at the time was working with someone who was dealing with a lot of hot flashes and was needing some help with that. And so this dream came to her at the time when she had this individual who was needing help with some stages of menopause and those kind of hot flashes that we get. And this dream came in to show her that she had this gift of being able to heal in a way that allows people to bring their body into balance. And now she's got this really beautiful program that she offers where she does these beautiful healing recordings that heal the individual through her sort of ability to heal through her voice, through her projection, through her healing. And you listen to that. And incidentally, I've been using this, her work as a resource for me in my, I have bladder issues. And so I've been using Katie's audios for that. I've also been using Katie's audios. Right now I'm working with her audio that she has an audio for healing the brain. And it's so cool because I've been listening to it now once or twice a day, and I keep having these dreams of these issues being healed. It's like my dreams are showing me that these are working for me. And so, like just last night, I did Katie's brain audio twice yesterday, and I had this dream about being in a hospital, and hospitals are often about the mind-body connection. And I had this really beautiful, like healing interaction with this little girl, and this little girl wasn't speaking the language that I spoke. And what I got from it so far is that it's a aspect of me that didn't get the love I needed as as a very young child, and that was being healed. And so how cool is that, and how magical is that? I just can't even get over how cool this stuff is. And Katie's able to use this now in her work as a spiritual entrepreneur. So how inspiring is that? Okay, we've got Kelsey. Now, Kelsey is the individual who is a very badass, clear and protector, and just gets rid of all that dark energy. She is one powerful person who can address any kind of infiltration that you are dealing with. And I love that her dream that she wanted to share with me, and you can see her link there to her website. So if you are someone who wants to get some support around this, definitely please, do contact Kelsey because she is fantastic. So she had a dream about being at Hogwarts, and she was, let's see, we were standing in front of a locker room. The teacher pointed to me and said, "You needed to get rid of the demon possessing the child in the locker room." I was scared at first, but then realized the possessed child in my dream was my youngest son. And then I got angry. It's like the mama bear came in, and she charged after it. She closed the door and went looking for her son. He was jumping over lockers and climbing walls. I finally got a hold of this demon and grabbed it by the neck. I screamed at the demon to leave my son's body. You get the idea. So ultimately, she ended up throwing this demon out, and basically this was the dream that helped her to understand just how powerful she was in dealing with and clearing dark energies. So that is something, if you'll go to her website, you'll see that she is definitely using this in her practice now. So there's a lot of demand for this, and she can do it. So Radha, just another fantastic, sorry, I was getting a call through. Fantastic spiritual person. She's got lots of gifts, but she's got projection in spades. She's clairvoyant to the moon and back. She can do hypnosis. If you go to her website, you can see all of her offerings, but she had this dream. She was working for a huge company, and she was going into that department. There were really tall ceilings, which is an indication of your spiritual potential. And there were these records there, and she was organizing them, and it was a large storeroom. And they had ancient writing on them. And the writing she couldn't understand. She only wanted to use the clean ones. But essentially, this dream showed her that she has this ability to help people go into their records in their current lives. Sounds a little bit similar to you, Veronica, to help them see their purpose and their path. And check in to see if there's anything they can do to move along faster. And so she does these things called life readings. And so that's something that she's able to do along with so many other things. She's fantastic. So definitely check her out. Now here I am. I was trying to find one that I could share. I don't really have a good one, although this one does kind of share kind of my projection ability. It also shares an indication that this was from, gosh, I think this might have been a year and a half ago, actually. And it shows some indication of my projection gifts, but it also shows that I had been struggling with some infiltrations and some dark energy that was kind of, for lack of a better term, fucking with me. So I'll just read it. We're not going to go into the meanings too deep, but there's my brother and there's this man and woman, and they've got this wire thing, and they took away my power so I couldn't fly. They saw me. I was crossing the road. It was a dark and rainy street. I found a bathroom. There was a penny in there. The wire caused there was something about the wire and the penny. A tall man was in there, so you can see that there was a guide there trying to help. My brother, which is my masculine energy, so there's some wounding there that I was dealing with, and possibly also ways that I can help, because here I have my brother, I'm flying over this building. I called down to these men that were chasing us that they're idiots, which I think is kind of funny. And then I'm Harry Potter. I feel like I'm Harry Potter in this dream. So that's obviously a sign of spiritual leadership, and that I have a certain spiritual level, that I'm pretty magical. So that's really nice to hear. And so it gives you some indication of some of the stuff that was going on with me and what I was being asked to look at from a spiritual and mystical perspective about a year and a half ago. But all to say that really, I mean, hopefully I've given you an indication of just how magical this realm of dream work is. And, in addition to just how much I've been able to heal, and the ways that I've been able to step into my life in a way that has really allowed me to touch in with my authentic self, my healed self. It's really allowed me to come into more awareness around the gifts that I have to offer in the world. For me, it's, spiritual leadership, it's counseling, it's projection, it's writing, and so, and channeling. So, and it's really helped me to understand kind of what I needed to prioritize when, how I could use that. I'm still learning, it's all still unfolding. But the beautiful thing that I have found is that when you're able to access your gifts and move into kind of what you're being asked to express here in this lifetime, it also makes things so much more fun and so much more magical. And, there's just something incredibly rewarding about being able to express your unique self and your unique gifts in a way that is what you contracted to do. And it makes things a lot more fun. I was really thinking about, gosh, how can I share my gifts and do it in a way that feels fun, that feels like it's of service, and also kind of share how people can work with me. And this was just so easy to do. It's just so effortless for me to get on here and do this. And feels so fun, and it's not restrictive, and I don't feel stressed, and I'm not worried about things. And it's just a beautiful way to be in the world and to create income and to share. And it's not always that you necessarily have to use this for your work, but sometimes, many of us are asked to use this as our work. So I've just been feeling more alive, just so much more in touch with my heart, so much more open-hearted, so much more resilient, so much more unfuckwithable, so much more less triggered, so much less controlling. This has all come through just balancing that masculine and feminine energy, which is really one of the core ways that we can connect with our spiritual gifts. Because if you think about it, we all have the energy of masculine and the energy of feminine. But when those energies are not in balance, or when we're accessing more of that toxic way that those can show up, we are not able to be in balance in a way that allows us to really access our our channel, access our, like our divine power. And so balancing those energies is what really helps us to come online. And so in the process of balancing those energies, we get to experience being more resilient, being more heart-centered, being more authentic, laughing easier, all these things that I've listed here that you can look at, feeling more in flow, having more trust, being more creative, being more intuitive, setting stronger boundaries. I've mentioned that I've been using these gifts, the counseling, the writing, the spiritual leadership, dream analysis, healing, channeling, they're all there. I'm using them all now in my work in ways that I never had in the 13 years that I have been, really just stepping into kind of the spiritual leadership and the counseling, but now it's really become so much more than that. As a coach, I have been really just naturally been engaging with some of my spiritual gifts, but as I've been working with my dreams, there has been just so much more that I've been able to access. So I have now started to get more indications of moving on to more of a dharmic path. And I don't know that I am fully on that dharmic path, but I definitely do feel that I am more in flow. I am engaging in a way that is less controlling. I am engaging in life in a way where I'm less having to learn through difficulty, which is more of a karmic approach to things, and more through inspiration. And that feels very beautiful. And that's eventually where we're all going to. Kim, are you here right now still? I'm going to put you on the spot if you are. If not, we'll just have you. I don't know that Kim is here anymore, but she is someone who has very powerful spiritual gifts. You might have heard her chiming in with some of the dream symbology that I forgot.
Yeah, I
Oh.
am here. I was just parking, sorry, because I was in the car and I'm picking up my little nephews shortly for hockey.
Well, real quick, would you share kind of how you have stepped into more of some of your spiritual gifts, and in particular, just real quick, kind of how, if you're open to it, kind of how you're helping to people to engage on kind of that karma dharma path? And if not, if you're parking, don't worry about it.
No, I'm good if you want it. Yeah, if you got
go.
it. Okay. Yeah, I also started like Amy. Amy and I actually were in our first class together on the whole dream world
Yes.
and didn't really know that much about anything, what dreams could do, and then ended up along this path. But I also had a lot of dreams that were pointing. Karma was always in my dreams, tons and tons of karma symbols all the time, and that I could work with karma, I could do different things with karma. And the key thing with dreams is that it'll give you the idea. And as you start using what you know, when you start using your gift, then more and more aspects of that gift come in, and you end up actually building your gift to its fullest potential. And so with karma, initially it was I could just help people identify what path they should be on or what karmic things might be in their way, and then I could move karma for them. And then I ended up finding out that I can actually remove all past life karma for people. And now I'm learning a little bit more about additional things that I can do with karma. And the karmic system was set up to actually trigger our gifts as we go along, and we have these triggers. But it did get a lot denser here on Earth than it was supposed to be. So a lot of people during this process had a lot of past life karma that sort of clouded what it was they were supposed to learn in this lifetime. So taking away that past life karma allows them then to actually capture those gifts. But it's through dreams that you can actually find them if you're not catching them as you're going through life and having these karmic events. Anything else? Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's so much more to the topic, right? And at
Yeah.
some point, we'll have to do a series on this
Yeah.
itself, because it's so much bigger. And Kimbra is just incredibly powerful spiritual person here on this earth plane. Thank you for being here, Kimbra. But it's like, Kimbra's helped me really to see kind of how I play a role in some of this. And so it's just been wonderful. I mean, the other thing about it is, gosh, I'm so glad that I got over sort of my hang up with regard to spirituality and all this stuff that we call woo, and really stepped into it, because I have been able to add so much magic to my life. But I've also been able to surround myself with individuals like Kimbra, like Tam, like Kelsey, Cliff, just all these people, beautiful people that Rada, just Katie, that just are really here to help others evolve as well. And so if you're here on this call, I'm just grateful that you're here, that you're interested in this stuff too. And that's really what we're here for, is to get you on more of a spiritual path in a way that's in alignment with you. Kimbra, do post a link to your services there in the chat. Or I will post it later. But again, it's like, I think a lot of times what frustrates me right now in the world is that so many of us are seeing things that we don't like about what's going on around us, and it is really, really chaotic time. But I see a lot of people who really aren't realizing that a lot of what it takes to create a better world happens inside of us. It happens through what we're able to heal and what we're able to shift in ourselves, so that then we can be the energy that creates that ripple effect and expands out into the world. And I don't know that we're going to solve this chaos, this density, by creating more of that inside of ourselves that we then project out. So, that's my big why, really, is to help us be that change, to help us find that peace, that harmony, that magic inside of ourselves, so that then we can create that in our own world. So, I'm going to open it up for questions. I know we've been going for a little while, but I did want to just share some offerings that I have. I call the way I work Dream Alchemy, and there are a few options for how to work with me. I have there's a longer term program that I call Dream Alchemy. That's the healing balancing work that I do. So this is really focused on aligning that masculine and that feminine energy, so that you are more online with your spiritual gifts. You would be connecting in with spiritual gifts. We would be doing some of the dream re-entering there as well. But we're also really looking at ongoing work with you. It typically lasts 8 weeks, though it's not a cut and dry type of program. It's over when it's over, and the dreams will tell us. But what it is really about is helping you to uncover your blind spots, things that are showing up in your energy field that are keeping you stuck or keeping you from fully stepping into your power, that you are not aware of consciously. And your dreams will show you that. And I will engage my counseling skills, my projection ability, my all my tools in life coaching to help you get balanced, so that you can really come in line and step into your life in a way that you're meant to. This used to be the highest level of support I had to offer, but I do have something new that I wanted to share as well. The investment is $2,500. I have 3 spots available as of this presentation. If you're interested, I'm going to be sharing a way that you can talk to me about this and schedule a time to chat about whether this is a good fit for you. Another new offering that I wanted to share is that I have a program that is for entrepreneurs. So this is life coaches. These are spiritual entrepreneurs. And this is where we'll do the same kind of balancing energy that I just mentioned, but we're also going to be tacking on 3 months of support to help you then to start putting those pieces into action in a way that is really aligned with your gifts and your path. And so it's the balancing work that I just mentioned, plus all of the tools that I have to offer as someone who has helped launch many a coaching practice and have helped many a spiritual entrepreneur. And the other gift that I have that has to do with my projection gift is that I'm a courage infuser. It's kind of cool. It's like, if you're someone who has sort of historically struggled in being seen for whatever reason, I'm really good at helping you to feel more courageous and step out and be in life in a way that allows you to be seen, allows you to use those spiritual gifts. And so this is where I get to use that as well and infuse you with courage and help you to get balanced and help you in a very hand-holding kind of practical way to use your spiritual gifts out in the world in a way that's very unique to you. I have one spot available for this. That investment is a little bit higher at $5,000. If you're interested in talking to me about that, feel free to book a one-on-one call with me. And there's no obligation, but I'm happy to chat with you about whether this is a fit for you. Now, there's another offering that I have. This is also brand new. This is for individuals who who have the gift of projection, who also have the gift of healing, and want to learn how to take people into their dreams in the same way I do. I have a lot of new things that I've been doing that are just coming online now that I have to share. So what this is I'm going to take you into your dreams. We're going to do 3 sessions where we're going to take you into your dreams so that you are experiencing this modality, but also kind of understanding how it works. And then I'm going to be offering you a month of support so that you're going to be kind of recording a session that I will be observing, and then I will be giving you feedback, but I'll also be offering you support so that you feel comfortable in taking this modality out into the world. So this is a new one, and the investment here is $1,500. I have one spot available for this. So again, if it's of interest to you and you want to talk to me about it, please do sign up. This is the link. If you're still here with me, thank you. And I have $250 savings for you if you do book a session and decide that you do want to move forward in working with me. That's a little gifty for you. So be the change that you wish to see in the world. That's what it's all about. I'm going to skip over these slides right now. But I will make this presentation available. These are a few nice things that people have said to me, said about me and working with me. This one I really like. It's from Malin. It says that working with Amy, I love this one. She says, the big one was that, what did she say? I liked this first sentence. I got so much more out of my weekly one-on-one sessions with Amy than talking with my therapist. I just felt like, yeah. I thought that was pretty cool. Anyway, there's some good things here. Amy's intuition and dream interpretations has helped me to unlock personal insights, leading to an understanding of the connection between my emotions and childhood trauma. The dream work brought me clarity on my gifts and my life purpose. Each session opened my eyes to deeper meanings and connections. Of course, if you've had the opportunity to work with me, feel free to share your experiences there. Right now, I'm going to stop share. I see we still have some folks who are here. So at this point, I would just love to open it up. I don't have the capacity. Oh, look at this. This is so embarrassing. My lipstick's all smeared. I don't have the capacity right now to do any dream analysis interpretation type Q&A, but I am happy to answer any questions for you to the best of my ability around anything that's come up after having listened to this presentation. And you can always just feel free to unmute now that I can. Can you all see me? Did the
Yes.
sharing stop? Perfect.
Mhm.
Any follow-up questions? Let's see if there's anything in the chat. I have been ignoring the chat. Let's see.
I have a question.
Yes, Valentina. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Good to have you.
Yeah, no, this was great. Thank you and it kind of came at a perfect time because I just wanted to clear up with you. So I remember all my dreams, I write them down, but they're all nightmares. So do you feel like you brought up, I think Kaylee was her name, the person who like clears away negative energy? Is
Kelsey.
that
Kelsey.
Kelsey? Okay, is that what you would suggest to kind of like tackle the nightmare situation?
So nightmares are interesting. They can be indications that you have an infiltration. It could be something where you could just share the dream, like you could check in with Kelsey and share that and see what she says. I'm happy to look at that too and point you in a direction. But sometimes those nightmares can also just be that there's something that your higher aspects of you are wanting you to face, that maybe you haven't really had support, or there's resistance there for whatever reason. And so it could be something along those lines, or it could be an infiltration. So my recommendation would just to be to forward that dream to Kelsey or me, and get some guidance around maybe next steps.
Thank you.
Of course. The other thing I did promise I would share is some tips for remembering your dreams. One of my favorites is really just to set a clear intention that you will remember your dreams. That's my absolute favorite. Another one is that if you can set a timer or an alarm, a little bit earlier than you typically wake up, that can be a really nice way to access a dream. I am a frequent, I get up frequently at night. So this actually, in some ways, it's really, really annoying. But in other ways, it's actually kind of a gift, because it helps me to remember my dreams. So those are a couple techniques. You can also work with different crystals. Some individuals have found that crystals can be really helpful. Putting a crystal underneath your bed or underneath your pillow. The other thing too is notice what you're ingesting. I know if I'm taking any kind of medications, I take a tincture sometimes that has THC in it. THC for me is not helpful when it comes to remembering dreams. And then there are some supplements that actually can be helpful, that depending on the person, sometimes it's magnesium can be helpful. You can pay attention to what your levels are with the B vitamins can be helpful. But sometimes it's kind of that. But yeah, I think for me, the biggie is setting an intention, trying to interrupt my sleep cycle. And then there are some times where I just don't remember dreams for whatever reason. I think sometimes it's like I'm doing work on an astral level or something, or I'm just not meant to, sometimes we're getting the healing we need, and we don't need to necessarily access the dream in our conscious state. So sometimes the dreams are doing their work and we're good, it's like it's doing the work it needs to do. So yeah. Any other follow-up questions?
No, I want to thank you. I have to bounce for another call, but thank you so much, Amy. I really appreciate it.
You are very welcome, Christy. Thank you
Take care.
so
We'll
much
be in
for being
touch.
here. Yes, absolutely. Okay, so let's see. I'm just going to take a quick look. Yes, I don't see any questions here. Yeah, so if there are no other questions, I am planning on making this a regular part of the series. And I am going to be diving into some of these topics a little deeper, probably bringing in some individuals to talk about some of the things they specialize in. Sleep paralysis, yeah, that's an interesting one. That one can be like, I don't know. I know like my daughter struggles with that. I've had it in the past too. Sometimes that can be an indication of needing to get some clearing work done. It's also kind of also can be a gateway into the spiritual gift of projection and astro travel. So, it's kind of a blessing and a curse, because for a lot of people, sleep paralysis can be absolutely terrifying. But if you do find a way to work with it, it can also help be a gateway into being able to consciously leave your body at will, which is pretty friggin' cool. So just, you might need to just, that might be one you can check in with Kelsey on too. And, you can also just do some more research into that one as well. Yeah, thank you for being here, Veronica. All right. Well, I think I actually have to bounce, but it was wonderful to connect with you all. Thanks again for being here. I loved getting to connect with you all and talk about one of my absolute favorite topics. So keep an eye out for some follow-up emails. And if you do have any questions, please do feel free to contact me. Otherwise, sweet dreams, and take good care. Bye, everybody.
So much, Amy.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks, Amy. Take care.
Thanks, everyone.